day and God bless everyone. I am Alona S. Navarro from Bachelor of Science in Accountancy, 3rd year college. What are the new things that you learned about the nature of mathematics? So, mathematics in our modern world, its specific objective is to develop one's understanding about patterns and to identify different patterns in nature, and to recognize different symmetries in nature and to explain the presence of Fibonacci numbers in nature. For the mathematics pattern, it defined as regular, repeated, recurring forms or design. It identify relationship and find logical connection to form generalization, and furthermore, there are different kinds of patterns. So first is the pattern of visual, which are often unpredictable, never quite repeatable, and often contains fractal. So visual pattern is the artistic arrangement and use of visual aspects of words into particular repetitive and or serial forms as a means to create structure in a poem. Said another way, visual pattern is any recurring or consistent visual aspect of a poem. So the second pattern is the pattern of flow, were usually found in the water, stone, and even in the growth of trees. So the flow pattern is the way in which fluids move through a reactor. Density, gradients caused by temperature or composition variations tend to control the overall flow patterns of the fluid. So much fluid motion is quite complex, with the flow pattern changing over time. Okay, so the third one is the pattern of movement, which is the pattern in locomotion, a general series of anatomical movements that have a common elements of spatial and temporal configuration, such as movement of body segments occurring in the same plane. So like for example of motor patterns are walking, jumping, and kicking. So next, and the fourth one is the pattern of rhythm, which is the most basic pattern in nature. So rhythm is a recurring movement of sound or speech. An example of rhythm is the rising and a falling of someone's voice. So another example is a rhythm is someone dancing in time with music. So rhythm also pattern are the rhythmic rule sign in a piece of music. So typically, a rhythm pattern can be found in just 2 to 4 measures in any piece and includes macrobeats, are also called pulse beats or big beats. So microbeats are also called meter beats, and a section or the melodic rhythm. Okay, so the next one is the pattern of texture, where a quality of a certain object that we sense through touching. So patterns can be simple or complex, but unlike image texture that generally appears, random patterns appear more structured, repeating a formation of shape and color will result in pattern texture, and repeating a logo in a formation will also result in a pattern texture. Okay, and the last one is the geometric pattern, where in it is the series of shapes that are typically repeated. Essentially, a geometric pattern is one containing objects, shapes, pictures, or other elements that repeat themselves. So this repetition might be regular and obvious, such as squares repeated on the grid, or more irregular or asymmetrical, creating a more abstract looking pattern. So mathematics in our modern world also provide an information about the pattern that can be found in nature. So there are waves and jaws. Okay, so and also the spats and stripes. And last is the spiral. So we have also here asymmetry. Symmetry in everyday language refers to a sense of harmonious and beautiful proportion and balance. So in mathematics, symmetry has a more precise definition and is usually used to refer to an object that is invariant under some transformations, including translation, reflection, rotation, or scaling. So there are kinds of symmetry. So first is the reflected symmetry. Reflection symmetry is a type of symmetry which is with respect to reflection. So symmetry is also known as line symmetry or mirror. Symmetry, it states that if there exists at least one line that divide as a figure into two halves such that one half is a mirror image of the other half. Rotational symmetry. So rotational symmetry is also known as radial symmetry in geometry. It's the property a shape has when it looks the same after some rotation by a partial turn. An object's degree of rotational symmetry is the number of distinct orientations in which it looks exactly the same for each rotation. Okay, and the last one is the translational symmetry. The translational symmetry of an object means that a particular translation does not change the object. For a given object, okay, so the translation for which this applies form a group, a symmetry group of the object, or if the object has more kinds of symmetry, a subgroup of symmetry group. And also, there are symmetry that can be found in nature, which are the human body, the animal's movement, the sunflower, the honeycombs or beehive, the starfish. So these are the things that I have learned in the nature of mathematics. What aspect of the lesson significant changed your view about mathematics? So mathematics makes our life orderly and prevents chaos. Certain qualities that are nurtured by mathematics are power of reasoning, creativity, abstract or spatial thinking, critical thinking, problem-solving ability, and even effective communication skills. As a science of abstract objectives or objects rather, mathematics relies on logic rather than on observation as its standard of truth, yet employs observation, simulation, and even experimentation as means of discovering truth. The special rule of mathematics in education is a consequence of its universal applicability. Mathematics enhances your analytical and problem-solving skills, creates the basis for a systematic thinking, and improves the skills required to arrive at logical conclusions, expand the mind to handle unfamiliar tasks with ease and confidence, learns through trial and error, and promotes cautious and careful thinking. So when I was in my high school days, all I know about mathematics is all about numbers and nothing more. Whereas, so when the days goes fast and finally met this topic, which is the nature of mathematics, where there are a lot of things that is very new. Okay, so things that will definitely change my perceptions. So here's the thing that I freshly found on that certain topic. So mathematics is done with curiosity, done with a penchant for seeking patterns and generalities, and done with the desire to know the truth with a trial and error, and the most important thing is without fearing to face more questions and problems to solve. Okay, so furthermore, mathematics can turn all the circumstances into order from disorder, and it gives us assurance to become a better person. Okay, so what is the most important contribution of mathematics in humankind? Okay, for me, the most important contribution of mathematics in humankind is the assurance and security to everybody. It contributes also to increase the level of awareness of every student who is still acquiring knowledge. And mathematics is one of a useful tool for solving a difficult problem in a different ways and a solution. So it brought success to those people who are hopeless and provide truth to those untruthful and freedom to those person who are fastened with a chain. Okay, so mathematics has nurtured the human minds in a way that no other science subject can. One of the most important contributions of math is that we students can easily calculate, and this has made our lives so much easier. Okay, next, another is for the sustainable economy and for everybody living. So we need to know basic calculations, and it is due to mathematics that human can easily develop and sustain their economy. With math, or by the help of math, we can think analytical and have better reasoning abilities. Analytical thinking means the ability to think critically. Reasoning is the ability to think logically. Analytical and reasoning skills are essential as they help us solve problems. And also mathematics has been benefiting humanity all along with people who had livestock kept counting their animals. Those wanting to trade items needed to compare values to get a good trade. Nowadays, we calculate total cost of our shopping. We calculate how to double our recipe. We calculate price per pound or per ounce to decide which cheese item is a better buy. And we calculate price per square foot to compare prices of houses. A drummer may use math to design a novel beat. An engineer will calculate and make sure the bridge or a curve in a highway is safe. A nurse or doctor will calculate a dose based on a patient's weight. An electrician will calculate to figure out the wiring and fuses needed for an installation. So you may not realize how you benefit from all that, but you would notice the harm if the calculation is wrong. I use math for practical purposes every day. I do not often resort to calculus or quadratic equations, but I have found them useful at times. So people who do not like to use math resort to pre-calculated tables or ask someone else. I prefer to use my own head. It is reassuring to believe I understand the problem and got the right solution, according to Miriam. And that's what, mathematics contribute in humankind. That's all. Thank you, and God bless everybody and more power.